having us.
Today we're going to
Grateful.
get to know Douglas, our Ewart, a little bit better. And it seems that you're going to play some music for us as well.
I just brought the
which is gonna
instruments
be
to kind
lovely.
of show it.
So
Excuse me.
I always...
Dennis.
I was going to make a joke, but he doesn't
No
want-
jokes right
he don't
now.
want no jokes, okay.
I always have some questions, but I also don't like, I get nervous and I don't like being stuck looking at a piece of paper. So I also want everybody to feel free to like ask questions and do the things. But what do you have planned? What do you want to do?
I don't have anything planned.
Yeah.
Sometimes they say that the best plans are changed.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel too.
And I always have a plan anyway, and the plan overrides other plans.
Yeah.
But first of all, I'm so happy to see so many of you here and so many connections that I have. And I've known Louis Alamayo, the great poet, thinker from Chicago, and we were just reminiscing about the early days in Chicago when people were making gatherings similar to this at a place called Transition East, which was a place for people to gather our thoughts, to gather our solidarity, to make it stronger, a powerful political, spiritual movement, looking at food, looking at ecology, looking at, that we have the power. There used to be a slogan that said, power to the people. I say the people are the power. It's not, no.
Absolutely.
Nobody can give you, there's this other one about empowering. Can't nobody give you no power. They can give you authority, but power comes from inside. That's my philosophy anyway, from within. And the other one is truth to power. I don't play that. Truth is power. And that's why people that seem to come from the most lowly circumstances are greatly feared when they speak truth to people that think they are power. And so I think it's important for us to think about when we utter words, what is the significance of what we're saying. The other one is, I'm unapologetically black. You've already apologized. In my, it's like, I'm unapologetically in love with you. What? What? If you love me, then it's unapologetic, and there's nothing. It means to me that you're considering this, and so the same. And I'm gonna just give a few more antidotes, and then I'll talk about some of the instruments that you're looking at. The other one is white supremacy. It's not white supremacy. It's white self-loathing that we're looking at. People that hate themselves. Because when you love yourself, and when you think of yourself as being of a quality person, you don't even have time to be bugging people, let alone spending your time intimidating, disenfranchising, and hurting people. And we have to stop saying that, because what they hear supremacy. And so, it's like the Supreme Court. We see that it's nothing supreme about that court. That's the court that held us in bondage, and they're back. They never stopped, but now it's unbridled. It's being casted in front of us every day, and we see the kind of material that's on the courts. And so I was just thinking of some of there's one or two other ones that will come to me along the way, that I just want to say those things to you. You will have your own philosophy and your own ideas about those things. But I thought I would infect you with some of my thoughts about it. There's one other one that's really poignant, but I can't think of it right now.
But it comes through when you think it's least going to come through.
I feel like
And
that's
Absolutely.
so true.
And that's why
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting to just jump in and have a point of saying something, but given the number of people who are here and what I know about some of the people and some of the others that are looking forward to continuing to be part of the areas where their life is happy and great for their family and the people in their community, as well as knowing that they're excited about what they're going to contribute for their younger family members, so that when those individuals and their family get older and older, they're going to be so prepared for making sure that the family just gets better and better, that we can then look up and say, we've done what we wanted to see done, and more importantly, the young people the young people in our family are excited about it, and they keep waiting to see what the rest of it's going to mean for them, because they're excited that it's their life, that they've been told that they can do what they want to do and where they can do it, and they can stand up and tell their parents, thank you, Mom, for letting me know that I can do this and this, and Mom, I got 2 things that I didn't think I knew how to do, but you taught me how to do it, and I want you to know now, from now until the next 3 weeks, every time it's time for us to have food and people are really busy, I have to tell you, Mom, from now on, I'm going to be one of the main people that help us have dinner or lunch, because we all have to eat, and if I'm not going to help, how am I supposed to be nice to the people that also want to help, and I'm not helping anybody? Mom,
Let me finish. Let me finish this. Janice,
yeah.
please. So critical. The other one is critical race theory. It's not a race theory. It's a race reality. It's not. There's no such thing as race. But since we've used that word, it's really ethnicities that we're talking about. But since that word has been codified, I'll say it's not a theory that we're talking about, but it's not good to go to some schools too long, because you get confused and you start talking in a language that you think is all that and then some, as Janice would say to me sometimes.
And it's a lie, nothing but a lie, it's a lie, nothing but a lie. Come on, get that lie up and out of here, because that's not how we love our music. We want the real deal, nothing but the real deal. Come on and bring it, baby. Thank you, Jesus Christ, and all the others that allow us to have this room together with each other, with family, with friends, with all those elements that allow us to love each other, spend time with each other, and remind ourselves that we are the ones that make this happen, and we do it with each other and with friendship, and it's something that we want to continue to have with our lives for long as we are able to be alive. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for all of your music. I'm very grateful to hear them and enjoy what we hear. Thank you so much.
We were here in George Floyd Square, and thank goodness for all the community people that were here that stood their ground, and for Darnella Frazier, whose name I've imprinted in my mind and said, it's a name that we need to remember.
Yes.
Because of her foresight and tenacity in documenting what the murder that took place right in front of this this institution, this beautiful fine arts gallery. I was playing the didgeridoo, and I thought I'd just mention a few words about it as a people that the people that invented this instrument are under constant siege, and it's not ended after over 200 years of colonialization and imperialism. The Aboriginals of Australia invented the didgeridoo. It's said about 70,000 years ago. Of course, the Aboriginals came from Africa, and they can even more trace some of their connections because of their, the phenotype and so on. But the instrument was originally made from bamboo, and when they went to Australia, there is eucalyptus grows there, and there's an area called the North End in Arnhem Land, which is northwest Australia. That's where the instrument hails from, and the bamboo. Many instruments in here are made from bamboo, and the reason that bamboo is so great is, first of all, there are over 1,500 species of bamboo, and they grow from being smaller than my little finger to up to 12 inches in diameter and various thicknesses and all of that. You can see some of them here, and this is a piece from the root section. I'll talk about this instrument a little bit later. But so the great thing about bamboo, and I'll get back to the eucalyptus, is bamboo is hollow except where you see a node. Every time you see a node, there was a membrane that grew across. So once but between here and this node, it's hollow. So if you remove the nodes, you have a tube. With eucalyptus, what they found was there's a termite ant that eats the eucalyptus, and because of it, it's both food and housing for them because it provides protection against predators. So they stay inside and they eat it, and sometimes you get a tube that's been fashioned by them, and you can almost ready play it. But some pieces are not as well eaten out, excavated on the inside. So they use different tools and burn it out, and then at the end they would use beeswax or some kind of resin to make the mouthpiece. So this helps to cushion my lips against the tube. This one I made, and it's made from ceramic, and so but the same issue of, even if it's smooth, it's not as easy on the lips as wax is. So even though some of them are smooth, and I have some that have nothing on them, but in this case, I use wax on the end. So this is clay, and it's been fired, and so on. I can't readily take any of these off the wall because they're tied on.
All right.
I have one.
I can get a scissors.
There's a young lady who's walked past here twice now, waving her hand, saying thank you for the music that you've given us. That I'm still young, but anytime you have music, I want to be able to hear it. And I'm here today to let you know that I want to be able to have that as part of my job.
Okay.
So please keep me in mind.
You're always in the mind.
Well,
You're always on my mind.
You all can laugh and say,
Okay.
I want you to know that she felt so specific about the wonderful things that she's learned here that she wanted to come up and talk while you were doing the music to let you know how much she loves what she does.
Okay, Ewart.
Okay?
I appreciate it.
Okay.
All right.
I just wanted it to be known by more than one person.
How you know, man? There's a whole Chicago posse here.
I guess so.
And I'm glad I think I can take this out. I don't know.
Do you want me to do it? I can maneuver it out.
Would you?
Yeah.
Hold it for me, sweetheart.
Would
Would you? You want me to take your plate?
I'm seriously.
Janice.
Okay.
Just let her.
It's a.
You need to.
It's a maneuver, so just try it.
Okay. I think I see it.
You've got to get it. Yes, that's exactly right.
But is it tied?
Oh, I did because I extra. Can you grab a scissors? I just did
Hold
that
it
as
for
an
me,
added.
I can stand up and hold it.
No. You don't need to do anything.
I don't need to, but I want to. They got it? Okay, because I know.
Let's watch your head.
I've seen this before. This isn't the first,
Did you get it?
second, or third time. I've done this many times. Okay. I'll do what I want to do, and you do what you want to do. You're not my mama.
Okay.
And don't even try to act like you are.
So
I don't make
why
you
why
be something else that you aren't.
Where we at?
So don't
Okay.
push that on me either. That's rude.
So we're in the George Floyd Square, and this instrument was made to. Well, let me just give you a little bit about the history of it. I was working on this idea for a long time, and I just kind of put it away. Originally, it was placed on bamboo because I thought, oh, it would be light and so on. But it didn't work as well on bamboo because although bamboo can be very strong, it also bends. And so I didn't want it. I tried it and it wasn't working well, so I put it away. And something spurred me to go back when George Floyd was murdered. And so I decided to put it on a solid staff instead. And I called it the George Floyd Bunt Staff because it's made from bunt pans. And but as I thought about it, because one of the things that occurs in, when you're an artist or when you're making anything and you think about it and you want to make a story and a philosophy about it, I started thinking about what had happened to George Floyd and what his murder initiated on a global level. So the idea of bunt pans coalesced with the idea of bunting in baseball. And when you bunt in baseball, you make a sacrifice because typically someone bunts when the bases are loaded or when several people are on base, and you make a sacrifice play so that other people can go home. Now, when I told one of my sisters, who I really love her because she always puts, another question to you. She's like, well, I don't know about all that.
That's right.
And
That's also right.
but my thing was, we don't know what was in George Floyd's mind and whether he did it deliberately or it occurred inadvertently. The ramifications are the same in terms of causing a spotlight on a global level, because George Floyd is not an anomaly. George Floyd is almost an everyday occurrence for black people in America and for people of color when we think about the indigenous people and what they are still enduring to this day. And the amount of, I think about a lot of things as an artist and as someone that also has taught for a long time. And how do you talk about music? Because I taught music of the Caribbean and South America, Asia Pacific, contemporary music seminar. And you can't teach music in isolation of social conduct, or else you're not talking about music.
Yeah.
You're talking about the topical aspect of music. But when we listen, you keep on pushing, you can't stop now. Those songs have narratives that to this day are so poignant and applicable. And so I think a lot about what it means to be an artist. How do we do we make these things How do we show the correlation of these things? Um, how do we interpret some of the things that we see? Because when you're teaching at schools, and I taught from kindergarten to the university, and we listen to songs, and we listen to some work songs, and we listen to spiritual songs, we listen to all types of songs, and then how do you talk to the students about what they're listening to? Because many of them have not been exposed to even the culture that they're living in. They don't understand it, they don't know it, or they become immune to some of the things that are going on, because you have to put on a flat jacket, and sometimes people put on too much. They put a flat jacket on their mind, and so you can't. They don't grasp some of what's going on. Anyway, George Floyd Munstaff. I'm on the fifth one. I'm going to make 10 of them for that. What is it? 9 minutes and 28 seconds was the time that Derek Chauvin knelt on this man's neck, and it made me. I have another stick, but is it here? There's a rain stick.
Yeah, there's that.
Oh, it's right in front of me. No, this
Trayvon.
one.
No,
This
Trayvon.
one. This one.
Yeah.
This one. This
Yeah,
one.
I had those
This
together.
one
Yeah.
is dedicated to Trayvon Martin.
Yeah.
But it's got a bunch of other people on it. Let me just finish this one, and then I'll talk a little bit. I'll talk a little bit about that one. But how do you make work that expresses some of your thoughts? And I've gone even now to wearing garments. The latest one, Jordan Hamilton, who is sitting right here, he painted it for me. And so I've gotten to, because you can be telling the stories all the time, and it's so important for us to not only tell the stories. Oh, the other one that it just came to mind. The other one, and I'm going to veer and come back. There's this notion now about telling your truth.
Yes.
And I got issues with it, and here's why. There's a lot of people telling lies. They don't even know they're telling lies, because the family has fed you lies about even your origin. And so when we say tell your truth, I say you can tell your story, but whether it's true or not, there might be some truth there, but it's one of those things that jars me when I hear it. Is 45 telling his truth or telling the truth? So I'm just saying things to you. I'm not seeking confirmation. I'm just putting it out there for you to think about it, because this is something that everybody says now, and I'm just like, don't tell me that I'm telling my truth. I'm not interested in that. I'm telling you what I know, and sometimes what you know, and you know, but you really don't know. So,
That sounds like
so
a song we can make, and we can call it the so and so and so song. Let's keep it going, keep the song going, keep the song going. And here's a good example of how well it sounds, and the fact that you're in a position to add another element to a wonderful opportunity of your family and your family friends, and being able to share it to the point that you can also teach the you so much. Domo arigato master. Thank you very, very much. With all
This
of our heart.
this is a goat bone flute,
Yes, it is.
and it's a friend of mine, actually a fellow Jamaican. I went to his house, and he had made a bone flute, and I asked him if he, if he knew where I could get some bones like that, and and so he gave me that flute, that bone years ago. It's the thigh bone of a goat,
Yep.
and
it's beautiful.
it's
And the sound
it's
is
this
amazing.
the I had it for some years, and I kept looking at it and saying, "You asked for it, you got it. Now you ain't doing nothing with it." And so
Look at you
I
now. You got it going.
and
man.
so I
Shoot, go on with your bad self.
and so I
Make it work. Make it
So-
work. Make it work. Come on. Give
So-
us 5.
so
10,
so I
15, 20.
so I so I took it one day. I took it and I decided I would construct a flute, and it was just the right timing, because you need to have patience and so on when you're building instruments, and as you can hear, the sound is just so magical.
Yes.
I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this instrument, and then maybe just quickly glance around to some of the other items that are here. But this instrument
That one's tied
is
on.
tied.
That
I'll
one's-
just leave it
That
there.
one's tied on pretty good because I
I'll
was
leave
really
it.
worried
I'll leave it
about that
alone
one.
since it's got to be here for a minute. But it's dedicated to Trayvon Martin. He was the one that that inspired the idea of the tribute. His case was so tragic and made me so angry because I remember in Chicago, one day we were coming from our lessons, and we were walking down the alley, and these two white rookie cats, you could tell they were rookies, they jumped out like we were doing something. We were just simply walking. But I was very unafraid, because I figure, like, I believe in standing your ground. That's what that guy Zimmerman used that as his phrase. But it's not. He was not standing any ground. He was encroaching on somebody's ground. So when they started their stuff, I was just like, "Yo,
Yep.
stop! We just coming from our lessons." And I said it in patois. I said, "What y'all do?" And they're like,
Like ready to kill you.
So, but what it reminded me of that incident, and they searched our instruments. We didn't have anything. We were just simply coming home from our lessons, feeling really good. We had just left the AACM School of Music, the Association for the Advancement of Creative Musicians. But anyway, Trayvon's death, murder, made me feel like I needed to make a tribute. And actually, somebody had commissioned me to make a piece for him, and I made it, and he didn't like it. But this is how I feel about my work. I never have to sell it. I'm not trying to sell it. That's why I teach and do other things, so that if you don't like it or you don't want to pay, I'm just like, I'm good. I can keep it. I can use it. This is not just a sculpture, it's a rain stick. And the reason that I make many of these tributes in the form of a rain stick is because it's one of those things that's almost alive, even though it's an inert object to some degree. But if you have a rain stick in your house, and you turn it over and you turn it back. They're usually the ones that I construct. They have residuals in there so that when there's vibration in the house, sometimes you'll hear stuff tinkling at night,
Exactly.
and you might get you might get spooked sometimes about it. But
Spooks in a
what?
way that you know you'll never forget it, and you have the ability to keep on moving and feeling things in your personal self, in the way you walk, in the way you think about the next sound of, of music that you hear. It always takes you to a point where you're amazed at how much more you've gathered and taken inside of yourself personally as a result of this opportunity to hear and be involved in that music, the way it was music, the way it was presented, what was the actual item that was used, material that typically people don't look and see in their house. How often those who are sitting here know that when they go into their house and get ready to have something to eat, is with the instrumentation.
So that's a perfect segue
Yes.
about something to eat.
Yes.
So you notice that on here there are Arizona iced tea cans.
Mm-hmm.
There now in there's a lot of talk about appropriation, but I think we're always appropriating as human beings. I think how you do it and how you give credit is crucial, but we all appropriating. We look at as a hairdo, we look at a dish, we go someplace to a different culture, somebody makes you some food or offers you a fruit, and you bring it back, with you and share it with others. That's part of what occurs in traveling. But we also know that people use it and abuse it and do things with it that are inappropriate, and they don't give credit where it should be given. So the Arizona iced tea cans, I used those because that were two items that Trayvon went to purchase that unfaithful evening. Was the Arizona iced tea and the Skittles. The Skittles are up inside here.
Yep.
They're casted up inside, and then there's even some in this thing, this resin here. And the other thing about that I wanted to mention about the can before I go to some of the other figures on here is the way that I'm good if you don't mind. I'm just here. For example, is the image of a man, a caricature and a scared-looking caricature of a man wearing what is a war bonnet. People don't understand the significance of this. That you can't wear this unless you're a serious warrior. You got to be like super bad to get a war bonnet. But if you look at this face, it no way intimates a warrior. And then there's one here with this woman, this Japanese woman. It reeks of servitude. She's not drinking tea, she's serving tea.
Yep.
These are images that we don't think about these things. Then they have a Thunderbird on here, but these images, and I bet you they're not giving any money to the native people for these images. I won't go through all the people that are on here. Well, I see Amadou Diallo, and of course, you know the story most likely of Emmett Till. But there's a image on here, and I can't find it right now, of George Stenny. Thank you. George Stenny. George Stenny was was a young, George Tenney was a young man. I think he might have been 12 by the time that he was electrocuted. He might have been 14, you know, and it turns out that they could never prove that he had molested these two white girls, young girls younger than he was. And his parents were run out of town. So he had no one to stand and to protect or to care for him. His parents had to get out of town or they would have been lynched. And so this stick, there's a man named Chamberlain on here. I can't think of his name right now. I think it's Richard Chamberlain. He was a veteran in New York. He had a pacemaker, and you know it can go off sometimes as though you need assistance. Well, it went off, and they got in touch with him, and he was like, "Hey, I'm good. I don't need anything." Well, it turns out the police goes there to his house. They wind up killing this man, who was like a veteran. I think he was 68 or thereabouts at the time. So this stick chronicles many tragedies on there. At the same time, like the George Floyd circumstance, it's had global impact. And when I think about global impact, because I also saw persecution in the colonial Jamaica that I grew up in. It might have been a little bit different because of the majority of the population being black. And although I grew up around people of all ethnicities, we didn't have to contend with white people every day. So it's very different. Like when all my doctors, my nurses, my teachers, my neighborhood, I could go for days and not see a white person, and so we didn't have to deal. I didn't grow up with segregation like here. Now, don't mark you. There certainly was segregation, and people couldn't go certain places. In fact, one hotel called Myrtle Bank in Kingston was off limits to black, and I forgot this lawyer's name. This black lawyer. One day he went there with his briefcase and everything, and he jumped in the pool in his suit and everything as a protest. And of course, it launched a change. And so tragedy sometimes launches change, but we're tired of that having to have, what do they call it? Crucifixions. We're not interested in the crucifixion aspect anymore. We've never been, but more so now, more than ever. Yeah. But I thought that maybe I would take a few questions from you, or maybe just mention. Sometimes it's good for me not to be looking. So I close my eyes now. You know, I do a lot more, and I notice because I close my eyes when I play sometimes, because you look at people's faces and they can impact what you're doing. And so if I don't see them, sometimes you want to see, but a lot of times I just want to be inside, and I can concentrate in a different way. And so sometimes I'm even on a panel, and they're like, "Douglas, you're closing your eyes." I'm like, "Yeah, I know." I'm doing it for a reason, but okay, I'll give you 10. How's that?
I take them both.
I just want to maybe mention a few things about the work. Having grown up in a culture where we made a lot of things as kids. Did I give Samantha a top yet?
No.
Okay, well, it's time for a top. Maybe not
Yeah.
today, but I'm going to make her a top.
Yeah,
But
because
I was going to pull a top out. There's some tops up here.
Yeah, because she's been expecting it and she's looking a little less happy.
Okay.
If it's right upstairs, just get it and get it for her.
All right.
Because she's been off.
She's been waiting. She's been waiting too long.
And she's been crying a little bit.
Okay, all right.
That's the part that really
You-
got the best.
We,
So much sadness.
I felt like
you,
I gotta do
you've become Samita's lawyer. Okay.
And I don't mind you being there because I've been there for longer than any of you
Okay,
know,
you
know.
plead your case.
I plead my case, and I did this for years.
I'm gonna spin it for you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna spin it for you.
Closer, she
So
has something for
let
you.
me go back to this. Let me go back
Okay,
to
well,
this.
she's ready for
I
you.
know it.
Don't
So
keep
what
her
I'm
too long.
okay, love.
Waiting too long.
All right, Janice. So she advocated and I reciprocated. And now I'm going to ameliorate, try to consolidate.
Yeah, because she's excited. She's waiting for you.
All right. So there it is.
Ooh, look, sweetheart. See how it's going?
And you can decorate it yourself.
Yeah.
And he'll show
So
you how
good.
to do it.
We're going to do it one time together.
Okay. So,
One time together. You have to, when you spin it, you have to grab it fast. I'm going to let your dad and your mom deal with that part. But
Okay, are mom and dad nearby?
yeah.
Okay, I want to make sure we got the right goings on. And not just because some black guy says blah, blah, blah. Let's make it happen for real because she's excited about it. She's been here
Stoop
for
down.
4 hours already.
Okay, you're going to pull
Excited,
real
she's
hard.
excited about it.
You got to pull like, woo, real hard. Go ahead, pull. Yay!
Oh, look at
So-
it go.
Wonderful. You're really good at it. Yay!